Ladies and gentlemen, raise them up. Raise them up, man. Raise them up on this Sunday. It is October 5th, 2025. We are going to celebrate, man. We're going to celebrate. What exactly are we celebrating? JD, you ask. Well, we're going to celebrate. Raise them up. Raise them up. Hopefully you guys got a cold beverage in front of you, whatever it may be. Alcoholic preferably. If it's non-alcoholic, I am not going to question you. Some people just don't want an adult alcoholic beverage. But please make sure it's ice cold. You AEW sickos in the back, bro. Raise up your sippy cups, man. I think Jesse served you all some ice cold milk to put you to sleep, okay? You sissies over there, man. You fucking milk drinking pussies over there. Raise them up. Raise them up. We are celebrating 6 years of AEW Dynamite on TBS, TNT, HBO Max, and Amazon Prime. We are celebrating the greatest year of all time. The greatest year in the history of AEW. Far greater than 2021, where we saw CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole all debut within a month of each other. Because this year is far greater than 2021 and even 2022, where we saw one of the best matches in AEW history. One of the greatest stories in AEW history take place, man. The sickos think that 2025 is better than 2021, 2022. Oh my God, man, the delusion runs so deep in the AEW sicko camp. Raise them up. Raise them up. 6 years, AEW Dynamite scored the lowest rating in the history of AEW Dynamite on their own night, Wednesday night. 2.5 hours of Dynamite. The lowest rating in the history of the show. Raise him up! Raise him up! Oh, man! That's so good. That's ice cold. Ice cold, just like the AEW product. What am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? AEW Dynamite scored its lowest audience in the 18 to 49 and in the overall viewership in the history of AEW Dynamite. This is according to Raj Giri, as you guys see there on screen. My guy Raj, always coming in with the facts and the statistics. AEW scored its lowest audience, an 18 to 49 rating in the show's history on Wednesday night with the new Nielsen Big Data Plus Panel ratings system. It was the second episode of Dynamite to be tracked using this new technology or methodology. Dynamite averaged 465,000 viewers, down 16% from last week, with a whopping 0.09 in the 18 to 49 rating. That's down 18% from last week per Programming Insider. It should be noted, says Raj Giri, that the numbers for last week were also using the new Big Data Plus panel system. As always, these numbers do not include the minuscule numbers on HBO Max. I'm sure Blowjob Bethel is going to come out and claim that they had 500,000 on top of the lowly 465,000, nearing 1 million viewers on AEW's overall viewership. Sure thing, bro. Sure thing. BJ Bethel, Blowjob Bethel, pulled those numbers out of Tony Khan's asshole. And even Tony Khan has admittedly said himself that he doesn't know where those numbers came from. He doesn't have the numbers. Sure thing, bro. Sure thing. You lie about everything else. I'm supposed to believe you, Mr. Analytic, don't have the fucking numbers? Give me a break. Dynamite was number 5 on the night on cable behind the MLB wildcard game. I don't remember who played. I think it was the Yankees and Red Sox? Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, sure thing about that one. Gutfield. I thought that said Garfield for a second. Man, I missed that orange fat cat, man, who eats lasagna. He'd probably bring in more ratings than fucking Dynamite. Jesse Waters, primetime. My guy Hannity, and the challenge. I don't even know what the fucking challenge is. It's a challenge for AEW to fucking remain above 500,000. How about that challenge on Wednesday night? What is that, an MTV show? The challenge. Year over year, Dynamite was down 32% in total viewers. Man, everything's great this year, man. The greatest year ever. Yeah, look, 32% in total viewers down year over year. What's great? What's great? While the 18 to 49 rating was down 55% year over year. Man, where did everybody go? Where did everybody go? Last year's episode was tracked using the panel-only system that is being phased out. Now, for all the excuses out there, for all the narratives that float around out there, yeah, JD, he's so unfair when he talks about AEW, JD from NY, 206, 026, 620. Yeah, I'm so unfair. Let's see what Raj had to say on October 2nd, because Raj reported something that Meltzer did not. Apparently, everything is great in AEW, according to everybody on their payroll. But Raj is fair. As many of you know, says Raj Giri, Nielsen recently changed their rating system to Big Data plus Panel, which is why you may have seen conflicting ratings data over the past week. The higher ratings were panel only, which is being phased out. Going forward, we will only post Big Data plus Panel ratings, which are the ones that have been posted on Programming Insider. Now, wrestling shows, for the most part, Raj says, have taken a big hit with the new rating system, which is interesting since most sports have seen a good increase. Below are the updated ratings for the shows since the change went into effect. NXT on 9/23 did 617,000 viewers with a 0.12 rating in the 18 to 49. Dynamite on the 24th of September did 554,000 with a 0.11 in the 18 to 49 demo. That is where they usually are anyway. So this new methodology, this new way that they compile the ratings is not much different from where they usually are. NXT is usually between 600 to 750,000. AEW is anywhere between 500,000 and 600,000. That's it. If they're above 600,000, it's usually for a specialty show, like from Arena Mexico or a special anniversary show or something along those lines, Fighter Fest or whatever the fuck they usually do. SmackDown on 9/26 saw a rating of 1.23 million with a 0.35 in the 18 to 49 demo. Collision on the 27th of September did 248,000 and a 0.05. Yeah, they're really cool over there with that 18 to 49 rating. And NXT on the 30th of September did 572,000 with a 0.10 rating. So those are the updated ratings. And then as you see, the ratings for Dynamite on this past Wednesday for their 6-year anniversary show, 465,000 viewers. Now, for context, I did some research and I went back into the time machine to see what exactly was going on this week, last year, and what Dynamite did this week, last year, to see how much they are down. Now, when you mention facts to the sickos, they usually combat with death threats and snide remarks and curse words that they shouldn't be using, because I'm assuming they're all still living at their parents' house in their mother's basement, and they're asked to clean their room on a bi-weekly basis because they're all fucking fat slobs who've never seen an ounce of sunlight or a fucking gym in their entire life. But normally when you come with facts to this fan base, they don't really like any sort of argument or back and forth. They don't like a intelligent, educational discussion on what's going on. So I looked into it. Last year, this week, Dynamite did 628,000 viewers with a 0.20 in the 18 to 49. So where exactly did everybody go? But the sickos will say, oh, well, JD, they were up against the MLB wild card, JD. Like the wild card series didn't take place last year. Oh, but it doesn't matter, JD. They're up against the wild card, JD. Now, granted, the Yankees and Red Sox is a history that is unbelievable as far as the rivalry between both teams. You're not going to get a rivalry on primetime television in that spot on television like the Yankees and Red Sox. There's nothing like it, especially if it's a playoff game. But the playoffs usually are must-see. It's the real season of the MLB season. So Dynamite last year, 628,000, 0.20. They were up against the Mets and Brewers, and then they were up against the Braves and Padres. Now, that's a series I don't really want to go back and reminisce on because the Braves got fucking embarrassed. But there were wild card games last year going up against Dynamite, and they drew 628,000 viewers. Now, if you go and look at the demo, the 0.20 and the 18 to 49, and compare what they did last year to what they did this year against the MLB playoffs, 465,000, down 16% from last week. 0.09, the 18 to 49, down 18% from last week. 32% down from year over year. That's last year into this year. 32% down in total viewers. And the 18 to 49 is down 55% in the 18 to 49 demographic from simply 1 year ago. Where did everybody go? Where did everybody go? You mean to tell me that these numbers and these analytics and these statistics is something that you should be celebrating over a 6-year period? You mean to tell me that what AEW did in 21 and 22 is not better than what they're doing this year? You mean the 2025 where they're running more residencies because they can't sell out any arenas across the United States? Oh, but JD, they sold out Globe Life Field. Oh, JD, they sold out Scotiabank Arena in Toronto for All Out. Oh, JD, they went to Forbidden Door and sold out the O2 Arena, JD. International flagship show. I am not using these gates and these live attendance figures as a reason to sit here and say AEW has had a successful 2025. WWE is selling out arenas left and right with the ticket prices that they're charging. They are hot as far as the way that they are operating business. AEW is not. AEW is just as bad, if not worse, compared to WWE, who's also having a down year creatively. But why is there a lack of interest in both shows from what we see on a week-to-week basis with their flagship programming? The creative. Why is AEW's attendance down? Why is AEW's ratings down across the board? Why is this analytically their worst year ever? Why is this creatively their worst year ever? So many excuses. Residencies, can't fill out arenas anymore. There's not one major household star besides MJF that people want to see. Nobody cares about any of the talent. The show is being run into the fucking ground. It's being run by an egomaniacal fucking man-child who doesn't know a fucking thing and has nothing more than his pro wrestling knowledge coming off of Reddit and the Wrestling Observer. He thinks because he was on the message boards at year 18, he could go and fucking book his own pro wrestling show. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. That's why you're running residencies in bingo halls in front of 900 fucking people more and more and more and more every single year because you can't sell out arenas across the United States. When you go overseas, you got no problem because that fan base, those countries are starved for pro wrestling. Meanwhile, people think because they're selling out the O2 Arena, which anybody could really do, because everything here that's Americanized that goes over there that usually doesn't have a show or a presence there normally year over year, outside one time a year, of course it's going to attract. Of course it's going to generate interest because people want to see what we have going on over here. It doesn't work the other way around. Why is AEW in the shithole that it's in? What is so difficult for people to actually admit about the show? All you need to do is, A, watch my review with Jesse on Wednesday. You'll know everything that's happening or not happening. But if you really want a concise breakdown of why the show sucks, look at what happened on Wednesday. Kenny Omega teamed with Bandito and Brody King against Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. Now, Kenny Omega He was put out of action and put through a table by Kyle Fletcher. He went to go seek medical doctor's advice and procedures and get some synopsis on his injuries. And he went there to go play video games at some fucking video game expo in Japan. People said that he was taking a break. Meanwhile, he came out on social media very volatile and said that he's doing company work and he had scheduled time off. All right, scheduled time off to go play fucking video games in Japan. Fantastic, bro. That's great. I'm glad for you. I'm very happy for you. You got your extracurricular activities out of the way, and you can go and do that on Tony Khan's dime. That's great and fantastic. But the guy was written off television. He was put through a table by Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher then moved on to wrestle Adam Hangman Page in the main events of All Out. Apparently, Adam Page and Kenny Omega got back on the same page, and tonight, or Wednesday rather, they had nothing to do with each other. It was a one-night-only thing. Shows book week to week anyway. Within an hour or two before showtime, that's when Dynamite is booked. Kenny Omega was put through a table by Kyle Fletcher, takes weeks off, misses All Out, comes back, and he's teaming up against the Bucks and Josh Alexander. No mention of Kyle Fletcher. He didn't mention Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher didn't mention him. They didn't go after each other. They're in the same building. They're in the same venue. They're on the same fucking show on the same night. Not a single instance was there a crossing of Omega and Kyle Fletcher. So what is Kenny Omega doing? They got Andrade sneak attack him in his return to AEW. So not only is Kenny Omega now feuding with Kyle Fletcher, not only is Kenny Omega feuding with the Young Bucks, not only is Kenny Omega feuding with Andrade, Kenny Omega doesn't know where he belongs creatively on AEW television. All the while, Jack Perry starts shoving Kenny Omega in a dialogue that I wish I could hear because I need an explanation as to what the fuck is going on. And nothing is given to us. There's no explanation. There's no progression. There's no story. Kenny Omega should be wrestling Kyle Fletcher at the pay-per-view for the TNT title. Then there's news that came out today that Kenny Omega is banged up and he's going to need time off. And AEW is pulling him from all active storylines until he rehabilitates and gets back to good health, whatever the fuck that means. So why did you have him show up on television and Kyle Fletcher put him through a fucking table? You had him being put through a table only to then write him off of television and move the storyline from what we saw there onto something completely different with Kenny Omega and Andrade. So who is he feuding with? Is he feuding with the Bucks? Is he feuding with Kyle Fletcher? Is he feuding with Andrade? Is he going to wrestle all of them at the same fucking time? Meanwhile, Kyle Fletcher should be defending the championship against Kenny Omega. Kyle Fletcher is going to be defending the title against Mark Briscoe. That's another problem. Adam Page beat Kyle Fletcher. Mark Briscoe beat MJF at All Out. Or Adam Page beat Kyle Fletcher. Mark Briscoe beat MJF at All Out. MJF is a former AEW World Champion, the longest AEW World Champion in company history. What do they do to reward Mark Briscoe by beating a former World Champion? Here you go, sir. A TNT Championship match against the top guy in the Don Callis family holding a dead secondary title. Don't you think it would make more sense for you to pick up the pieces from Omega being put through the table by Kyle Fletcher, for Kenny Omega to feud with Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title at Wrestle Dream, move Adam Page onto Mark Briscoe, who apparently was his friend then, and now we couldn't give two shits about him now? Mark Briscoe was about to be burned alive, and Adam Page needed to abide by MJF's rules so that he doesn't burn Briscoe alive to save Mark Briscoe. And now apparently he doesn't care. He beat MJF. The first thing that Adam Page should have done when he showed up on the weeks following All Out was look at Mark Briscoe and said, man, you deserve it. I'm going to give you a world championship. What does he do? He gives a world championship match to Lee Moriarty because he's from Pittsburgh. And the show took place last week from Pittsburgh. Speaking of Adam Page, his reign coming out of All Out, or All In, beating Jon Moxley for the World Championship, which was fucking great, by the way. I loved it. The ending was great. His title run has been absolutely dog shit. Drizzling shits has been Adam Page's World Championship run. I am so over it. And this is something that I actually asked for, and they delivered on, and they fucked it up somehow. So what do they got Adam Page doing at Wrestle Dream? Is he wrestling Mark Briscoe? Of course not. He's wrestling Samoa Joe, who's been dead in the trios division with Will Hobbs and Shibata in the Ops. They've been fighting the Death Riders for the last 9 months. What do you think they do for the World Championship match at Wrestle Dream? They give Adam Page Samoa Joe. Well, JD, how did that match come about? That sounds like an interesting match. That's funny, sicko. It's funny, you may ask. How did the match come about? Was there some long, elaborate storyline that was built up over 9 months that is going to take place at Wrestle Dream? No, of course not. It was built up on Wednesday because Adam Page won the match for him in the Ops against the Death Riders, picks up Samoa Joe's Trio Championships, and hands the Trio Championships in a forceful way to Samoa Joe, where Joe didn't think anything of it, and he drops the belt on the ground. Samoa Joe looks at Adam Page and finds this to be a disrespectful gesture. So a championship match was born from all of this because Page dropped the championship while handing it to Samoa Joe, while Joe was screaming, "You never beat me! You can't beat me! I'm the Batman!" This is how you're booking a world championship match? Match was made for Wrestle Dream. Little to no story. But the sickos will say, "Oh, it's Samoa Joe and Adam Page. What are you complaining about, JD?" What am I complaining about? How the fuck are we getting here? How did we get here? Yet I had people complain to me that I'm complaining about this, but I didn't complain about Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and they think the feud was over a toy bracelet, a 99-cent toy bracelet. Let me tell you something, you fucking retard sickos. The storyline wasn't about the fucking bracelet. The storyline was about CM Punk fucking McIntyre over and over and over again in his opportunities at the World Championship. The bracelet only came into play because there was nothing for Drew McIntyre to take away from CM Punk because Punk took everything away from him. There was nothing else for McIntyre to do but take that away because it had the two things that he loves most in this life on that bracelet. And it was AJ Lee, his wife, April, and Larry. It wasn't about the bracelet. It was about Punk and McIntyre fighting over the World Championship. Who wants it the most? And the only way that they could get to the World Championship is one of them have to eliminate the other. Are you fucking stupid? Are all of you that stupid? Or do I need to come on here weekly and make you all look more stupid than you already are? I'm not even done with this fucking show. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. This is another fucking sham of a storyline. They show up at All Out 2 weeks ago. You think they'd show up on the week following Dynamite? Coming out of the pay-per-view? Of course not. There's a graphic. Jurassic Express will speak at the 6-year anniversary show. It's the biggest ovation they got all fucking night outside Edge and Christian. They're not on the fucking show. Where the fuck are they? Did they go back to the graveyard where they dug up Luchasaurus? Were they looking for more fucking fossilized bones? Where the fuck were they? Where'd they go? So they show up on Wednesday. Jack Perry gets into a shoving match with Kenny Omega. For what? I want to hear these guys speak. Why are you together? Why did you dig up Luchasaurus? Why was he buried? What did you inject him with? Why are you back together now? Shoving Kenny Omega. Last time we saw Jack Perry, he was the TNT champion. He lost the title to Danny Garcia. Last time before that we saw Jack Perry, he was wishing Kenny Omega a blood-soaked birthday with intestines all over a birthday cake. They all put him out while he had diverticulitis. Now he's shoving Kenny Omega almost in a "I'm sorry, bro" type of way. I got to take the Young Bucks out. Can we hear the dialogue that's going on? They're feuding with the Bucks, Jurassic Express. Nobody knows why. They were all together last time we saw them. They were the elite. They were running roughshod over the fucking company, killing the fucking company, killing the brand. Now all of a sudden, Jungle Boy wants to find solace in Kenny Omega, find the respect in Kenny Omega again, while taking the Bucks out with Luchasaurus. Meanwhile, Luchasaurus was teaming previously with Kip Sabian, and he was in the matriarchy. They brought Luchasaurus back to team with Kip Sabian to fill in for Nick Wayne to wrestle Edge and Christian at Forbidden Door. Not only did you take away the appeal of them teaming for the first time in Toronto against FTR, you put them in a tag team match, which killed that instantly against a dead fucking team and a dead faction to bring Luchasaurus back to do what? To get more seats filled at the O2 when you were already sold out, basically? Did Edge and Christian need to be on the show? I don't get it. Why did you ruin what should have been a great moment after 15 plus years, 20 years with Edge and Christian in Toronto teaming at All Out against FTR and the story and the history that those guys have? Meanwhile, Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus arguing back and forth. They're going at it. Kip Sabian's disrespecting Luchasaurus. Why? He just got back 2 weeks ago. What are you shoving him around for? Do you care to tell me what the fucking problem is? Then all of a sudden, Luchasaurus shows up at All Out, teams with Jack Perry, Jurassic Express is back together, and nobody knows why. What happened to the matriarchy? Do you want to tell me why they got removed, or why Luchasaurus got removed from the matriarchy? Do you want to explain to me what Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus were doing? Why he's now with Jack Perry? Why did he leave the group? How did he leave the group? When did he leave the group? What am I, fucking losing my mind? What are we doing? The women's division is in shambles. Tag team championships that basically are created to give everybody else an opportunity because Mercedes is holding the division hostage. She's got no opponents. Chris Statlander won the championship from Toni Storm. Toni Storm was their biggest female going into All Out, loses the championship to Chris Statlander, and there's no story around it, but this is a fatal four-way, and we're stacking the odds against Toni Storm. No story for Stat chasing her first singles major women's championship in 6 years in AEW. Evaporated like that because they wanted to flip the script and they wanted to shock everybody by her beating Toni Storm, pinning Toni Storm and All Out in that fatal four-way. Now we're getting Toni Storm and Chris Statlander at Wrestle Dream, babyface versus babyface. Two baby faces, two big baby face talents in the women's division. Samoa Joe and Adam Page for the World Championship. Two baby faces. Takeshita's wrestling Okada more than likely. Two heels. What the fuck are we doing? I don't get it. Hologram is injured. Kyle Fletcher takes Hologram out on Saturday on Collision, only to then remove him from the championship match that should have been on Wednesday. Orange Cassidy replaces Hologram, and then all of a sudden Fletcher beats Orange Cassidy with the help of Hologram, who apparently is cloned, calling himself El Clon. So you took Hologram out, you took the real Hologram out to have an evil replica Hologram help you, and then you bring him into the Don Callis family. And I'm supposed to take this company seriously. And then you want to know why the ratings are 465,000 people. Death Riders are still running death all over TV. It's the same fucking match every single week with the same interferences every single week. Every single week. Do I need to go on? The show is fucking terrible. This show is an absolute fucking disaster. A disaster in every sense of the word. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And then you want to know why the ratings are in the fucking toilet. And then you want to know why they can't sell out arenas and they need to run residencies more often than they want to because they can't sell any tickets. I am tired of defending terrible television. I can't stand people who defend obviously terrible television. I can't stand how people are willingly accepting this shit and just blatantly telling Tony Khan, thank you for insulting my intelligence. They deserve everything that's coming to them and everything that has come to them. For a 6-year anniversary show, celebrating 6 years with the lowest rating in the history of the show on a regular Wednesday night with no other competition outside of the norm. You can't use baseball as an excuse. You can't use hockey or basketball as an excuse. You can't use anything else. I was told reruns of Family Feud drew higher than Dynamite on Wednesday, but everything's great. But everything's great. Before you are quick to blame and look at WWE for their shortcomings in 2025, motherfucker, you got a list 1,000 times longer than WWE. Do not look at the other company and what they're doing when you have many, and I mean many more problems accumulating week by week by week that you need to fix in order to get back. And at this point, I don't want them to get back because nothing's going to change no matter what. And I don't think they have the capability or the wherewithal to get back. They don't want to get back. They're okay with where they are. They are okay with mediocrity. The fan base is okay with mediocrity. And Tony Khan thinks he's doing a great job. He lives in a fucking fantasy world. He lives on a fantasy island all by himself where things are great. And the ratings are great. And everything's great. And the creative is great. And the best pro wrestlers wrestle in AEW. Nobody wants to wrestle or watch you wrestle. Nobody wants to see them wrestle. You're missing one key ingredient, a reason to watch. Nobody wants to watch The Swirl against GOA. Nobody wants to watch Orange Cassidy. Nobody wants to watch these fucking bums every single week that don't draw a fucking dime outside of the virgins that live on social media. Nobody wants to see the Death Riders anymore. Nobody wants to have their intelligence insulted with fucking storylines that are started, dropped, and then sometimes just disappear altogether, never to go back to. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. At this rate, for the 7-year anniversary, they'll be down to 200,000 viewers. And I'll be here going over everything that's wrong with the company and laughing while I deliver the content. Maybe in year 8, we'd sit here with a cold beverage, celebrating that AEW is finally fucking dead because they refuse to listen. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. I told you I had some fucking content. Hopefully I brought the fucking content. Have a great weekend. I'll be back live on Monday with Raw, brand new week. And we'll start Crown Jewel week off with a bang live on stream. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications, and please go check out all the great content on the channel, as well as the second channel linked down below in the description. Hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys right back here Monday with more content live right here on Off the Script after Monday Night Raw on YouTube. I'll see you guys later.